Players and Nick, remember this. Being on the Bud list is not an insult. It is an inspiration. You're going to have a big week coming up. Except for number 5 because he's not playing but still makes the list. New York Jets quarterback, the rookie, Zach Wilson. I know you're saying, wait, how is he on the list? He's not playing. Boy, oh boy, is he under duress. There is a Hall of Famer literally going for his job. Okay, maybe not a gold jacket Hall of Famer, but Mike White's jersey and football are in the Hall of Fame. Yes, they are displayed in Canton. He completed 37 passes last week in his debut, most by any quarterback ever in their debut. He threw for 405 yards. He's only the second quarterback since 1950 to throw for that many yards in their first start. Oh, and Robert Saleh, the head coach, not once, but twice held press conferences to leave the door open that Mike White could end up being the starter long term instead of Zach Wilson. Oh, and the media in New York has been referring to him in some articles on some radio shows in the same breath as Tom Brady, who obviously 20 years ago famously replaced Drew Bledsoe. Now, of course, Mike White is not Tom Brady, but
who knows?
Zach Wilson is not yet Drew Bledsoe either. So if White goes out and is tremendous against Indianapolis this weekend, we have a full-blown QB controversy in New York. At number 4, Marlin Humphrey. I'm going to the defensive end of the ball. Now, look, this could have been the entire Ravens defense because they're shockingly 25th in the league in defense. All right, that's horribly. But the pass defense is what's really atrocious. They're dead last in pass defense, giving up 296 yards a game. Marlon Humphrey, the quarterback, is a 2-time Pro Bowler the last 2 years, in fact, and he has kind of become emblematic of their issues. His coverage has left something to be desired. He was owned last week by the rookie 2 weeks ago, by the rookie Jamar Chase from Cincinnati in that 41-17 rout by the Bengals. And he hasn't been tackling well, and that's a big problem for these Ravens. They can't tackle. All right, they're giving up, get ready, 1,170 yards they've given up after the catch. That's worst in the league. All right, so Marlon Humphrey, you got to start tackling better. So do your teammates, because you guys became only the 3rd team ever to allow 3 400-yard passing games in your first 7 outings. Bounce back, guys. You got a shot if you do. At number 3, Justin Herbert. It was all good 3 weeks ago, but it ain't all good now. All right, remember 3 weeks ago? Coming off big victories. Cleveland, Vegas, Kansas City. I don't know if that was a big victory or not, but it was at the time. Kansas City. And now they've lost their last 2. And Justin Herbert, who some were comparing even favorably to Patrick Mahomes, saying he was now the class of the AFC, not Mahomes. Justin Herbert's averaged 209 yards on 53% passing with 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions over his last 2 games. He's got to bounce back. He is under duress. All right, at number 2, speaking of Patrick Mahomes, Nick, I hate to do it. He deserves to be on here again. Patrick Mahomes. All right, we know they coming off an uninspiring and unimpressive victory over the New York Football Giants. These next 3 weeks could very well determine their season. All right, you got Green Bay, you got Las Vegas, you've got Dallas. All right, and they caught a break, Jenna. They caught a break, obviously, with Aaron Rodgers being out with COVID. There is absolutely no excuse, none whatsoever, for a healthy Chiefs team to lose to Green Bay. None. And so Patrick Mahomes, we know, league high 10 interceptions. That's only 1 fewer than he threw the last 2 seasons combined. 7 straight games, his last 7, with a pick. The last 2 weeks, Nick, 1 touchdown, 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. All right, so Patrick Mahomes
That's enough.
I believe this will inspire
Let's keep it
him
moving. That's
to
enough.
a big game.
It's enough.
All right, number one.
Mahomes. Enough.
Number one, another guy you're high on, Baker Mayfield. Now, you could argue Baker should be number one even without the OBS/OBJ controversy. All right. But yeah, add that on to it with the shoulder injury, and he's lost his last 3 starts. Now you add on the blunder reel that OBS put out there, and now about 700,000 people have watched it, and it made Baker look like a dunce, like he couldn't throw the football, like he couldn't find the open man. All of that is putting the duress on Baker, not to mention they need a W. All right, they're 4-4 at the bottom of the AFC North, facing Cincinnati. They better win this game. Baker Mayfield is the most under duress of all the players
Broussard,
in the NFL this week.
I got to tell you, Broussard, last week I erased the whole list. You had been out celebrating your birthday with those strawberries you like so much, and you didn't put enough time and effort into it. Let's just be honest. This week, on the other hand, outstanding work. This is a great list.
Wow.
It's such a great list. I'm really the only way that I can edit anything is by breaking the rules. It says players under duress. I'm going to add a coach because his impact on why we're not seeing a certain player. I'm going to add Sean Payton because I feel like there have not been nearly enough stories, articles, not enough commentary about what happened to Michael Thomas. So let me just tell a very quick story here. Michael Thomas, rookie season, 92 for 1137, catches yards. Next year, 104 for 1245. The next year, 125 for 1400. The next year, 149 for 1700. The next year, 40 for 438. And the next year, 0 for 0. So what happened to Michael Thomas? What happened to Michael Thomas is Sean Payton let his ego get ahead of winning, and he tried to score 40 points on Tom Brady and the Bucs in week 1 last year. And since then, Michael Thomas's career has been forever altered. There's no getting around it. That if people don't remember, the Saints are up by 2 scores. By the way, the play before Michael Thomas got hurt, Sean Payton called a double pass. There's 2 minutes left. He called a double pass to try to stick it to the Bucs. There's 2:20 left. The Bucs are out of timeouts, and the Saints are trying to score. They could have taken knees. And Michael Thomas suffers a brutal ankle injury, tries to come back last year, is not the same, is not going to play this year. So not only is Peyton under duress because we're going to get to see his favorite cosplaying quarterback for the next month or so in Taysom Hill, but you had the most prolific, productive receiver in football. And because you were trying to send a message to Tom Brady and Bruce Arians in a game you had already won, you may never have him again. So especially with the news that Michael Thomas Broussard's out for the year, I think that Sean Payton's got to be feeling it because it was a totally unnecessary injury.
Great call.
No, you make a great argument, Nick, and I'm going to give you this. If it was coaches under duress, Sean Payton would be right there. So not a bad take at all. Wilds?
Appreciate that.
Oh, I'm going to add just one, Broussard. My old friend, and this hurts my heart. I'm adding my old friend, the 2019 Defensive Player of the Year, Stephon Gilmore. My guy, Bill Belichick, traded Gilmore to Carolina, made his debut last week, had an interception. But now he's got to be put in the blender by Mac Jones. Now, there's 2 ways this plays out. Maybe, if you're a Panthers fan, it's like when Belichick released Lawyer Malloy. Lawyer Malloy went to Buffalo, showed the Bills everything the Patriots were going to do, and delivered Bill Belichick the worst loss of his Patriots tenure, 31-0 on opening day. We ended up winning the Super Bowl, but regardless. Or it goes the other way, that Bill Belichick knows so much about Gilmore, that he treats him like Tom Brady. That we saw Tom Brady go into Foxborough, be like, oh, geez, I'm running up against a guy who knows all of my tendencies, everything I'm good at and everything I'm not good at. And Tom Brady had his worst game as a Buck against Bill Belichick. So I think it's going to go that way. I think Bill Belichick knows more about Gilmore than Gilmore knows about Belichick, and he'll have a bad game, and Mac Jones will cook him up, Broussard.
Hook him up.
You know I'm a Mac Jones fan. In fact, I'm a bigger Mac Jones fan than you are, Wilds. I never jumped off the bandwagon, no matter how briefly. But who's the Mac? I don't question Mac. What receiver's going to exploit Stephon Gilmore? OBJ is not yet there. He's not walking through that door, certainly not before Sunday. All right, so what receiver is going? That's my problem with the Stephon Gilmore take. You got an answer for that?
Yeah, I know we got to go to medals, but Jenna, look for N'Keal Harry, who wasn't traded, wanted out of New England, said, oh man, you know what? I don't want out of New England. I love New England. The foliage, so beautiful here.
Yeah.
Wow, Mac Jones is great.
But there's no technology. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.